everybody. This is my first ever video and we are at beautiful Clifton Beach in northeast Queensland, northeast Australia. So take it in, it's beautiful. Now I was going to do my first ever video at Wangedi, but events are conspiring to stop me. My van has broken down for the second time this week. I'm using a tripod as a selfie stick, as you'll see here, because again, all the selfie sticks are unavailable. So I'm just going to go with it. You know, I was thinking, I can't do this. But then I suddenly thought, you know, with my fitness, I don't stop for anything. Nothing gets in the way. It can be a hailstorm, and I will just get out and do it. So I'm going to apply the same to my filming. We're going to get it going. Even the sunrise, unfortunately, is subpar today. So, not to worry. Still beautiful. Now, behind me, you'll see Double Island. And that's Palm Cove directly behind me. And then if I scan around, this is Clifton Beach right here. And then behind me, at the end there is Koara Beach, and this beach is really nice for running along, about 10 kilometers out and back. It's fantastic. So I hope to film that at some point. Running with this tripod will be an interesting experience because it's not too light holding it for a period of time. But enough of that, let's get going. Okay, so behind me is a bench and we're going to go off the beach and I'll show you what I would do with the bench. Okay, so before we start, one thing that I should mention is I always wear my wrist straps. They really help my wrists from getting damaged overall. I've had a lot of problems with bad wrists from calisthenics in general, because some of the movements can really bend your wrists quite badly, and you don't want that. You can be really injured for a long time. I still have a pretty bad wrist, left wrist here, but wrist straps make a huge difference. So all they are is a bit of material that just wraps tightly around your arm and gives a nice bit of pressure. So once those are on, I can do my workout and know that I'm not going to have bad wrists. Okay, so we're at the bench, and what I'm really emulating here is a normal sidebar dip. So a dip that you would have a bar on each side, you grab the bars, and extremely good for your chest muscles, your triceps, really toughens you up. It's one of my favorite exercises. So if you don't have normal gym equipment, you don't need it. You just find a bench like this and just grab both sides. If you're in Australia, check underneath. Just make sure there are no spiders. That would be a good idea. And grab both sides and down. And I try and do about 15 of these. And what you want to do is go as low as possible. So I try to challenge myself to touch the bottom of my chest. And I think that was at least 15. So stop there. And I can really feel it now here, and specifically here. It is, I say it's one of my favorite. I think dips are pretty much my favorite. I like to do them a lot. So if you feel up for it, that's a really good one. You can do it on any good bench. Okay, I'm going to stick with dips for a minute. So if you're really stuck for a bench and this is all you've got, you can still do your dips, just got to be creative. So again, grab both sides, and this time you're going to really struggle getting your legs underneath, but it's just about possible, although I wouldn't bother with that. That's really not going to get you anywhere. So simply just put your weight a bit more forwards, and you can do it like that. There we go. Let's try and keep your feet off the ground. Alright, again, feeling it there and there, that's a good one. Okay, so staying with this bench for a minute, we've done sidebar dips in the last two videos, so what I'm going to do now is a front bar dip. So instead of having your arms pushing down the side, you change the grip this way around. So before you've got your grip on the side, that's a very standard dipping position, and this time changing it to the front. So you know, grab the front back of the bench here and like that. So I've got my legs off the ground, and now it's actually a little bit easier than normal because the weight, my body weight, is pushing against the back of the bench. I can't do anything about that, so my knees are rubbing against the back of the bench. It's taking a tiny bit of a weight off, maybe, I don't know, 10% of the weight, but I can sense the difference. So again, you want to do maybe 15 of these if you can, and go as low as possible. That's a good idea. Really get it out of it. And again, there. I love dips. All right, moving along the beach, we are now at a workout area. So I thought I'd just show you, in case you didn't quite understand. These behind me here are normal dipping bars. So as you can see, you would use your grip where you have one arm on the side there and the other there, and that's essentially what I just created on the bench before. Now a front bar dip is where you would be grabbing, pretty self-explanatory, where you would be grabbing this bar here. So that's what we did on the other bench. Alright, seeing as we're actually here, I thought I'd just show you, this is sidebar dip, exactly the same as when we were on the green bench. You're grabbing the side of something, so long as you've got enough clearance for your knees and your legs, just pushing up and going down to about chest level, and just crushing it until you really feel it in your triceps and your chest. It is one of the best exercises you can do, so get on it. Okay, so I have come to a set of bars behind me to attempt, haven't done them in a while, it'll be alright, to do some Korean dips. So it's a very weird name. Really what they are is rear bar dips. That's what we should call them, because you've got your side bar dips, the standard ones, you've got your front bar dips, which I've also showed, but this one is where you're grabbing the bar from behind and doing that dipping motion. So I'm going to jump up there and I will show you what are Korean dips. Let's call them rear bar dips. Alright, here we go. Okay, so I didn't fall off, haven't done that in a while, but you can really feel it pulling here, and another great workout. So seeing as we're on the bars, I thought I'd just mention hanging with one arm. So I've done a fair bit of it, and it does increase your grip strength, but personally I don't think you get much out of it. I find that hanging with one arm, although it sounds like you're really going to toughen up, I find that you can really easily pull muscles up here, especially where your shoulder is, especially if you have been doing shoulder exercises. And me myself, I wouldn't really recommend it. I mean, if I go up there now and I hang on this like that, I'm really feeling it here, and it's gonna really pull my muscle for the next few days, and it will reduce the amount of power that I can do in my shoulder presses. So would I recommend it? Not really. And after all the time that I've spent on it, at the moment, right now, this is about as much as I can do. I can't really do more than what? I don't know. How long is that? I don't know. What is that, 5-6 seconds? I have been doing a bit of exercise, but still. Yeah. I wouldn't really recommend it, so don't worry about it. That's my thinking anyway. All right, back on the beach. Let's have a little breakaway segment. So, what do I do and what keeps me going? So, let's start with motivation. I do get asked this quite a lot, and how do I keep motivated? So I think this is probably one of the best questions that I could bring up right now on my first ever video, because it's a very important one. So for me, it's not so much motivation, it's this burning fire inside of me. We all have our passions, and this is my passion. I'm extremely passionate about it. If I go one day without it, you know, I got to be exhausted, and then I like having a day off, but not very often. You know, I just like being pumped up from it. It's like my morning coffee. And so if I was going to say to somebody, you know, you want to do it, you're not feeling motivated to do this, I would say it's got to be something that comes from within you. You've got to really want to do it, but don't focus on all of the superficial things, you know, like, oh, I want to look good, reasons like that. You know, it's more about how you feel yourself. I get up, let's say I get up just after 6 a.m. and from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. I will be doing my workout. And then about 8 to 9, you know, I might be eating. That's on a day when I've got my own time. It makes me feel fantastic. And, you know, I mean, half the time that I'm exercising, I can be tired. I'm not the best early morning person. So, you know, it's more about just something that really makes you feel good. And if for you that is, you know, writing a book or writing poetry, going for a run, you know, you going dancing, whatever, you get the picture. So if you want to get into fitness and you're not, and you know, maybe you're doing a month here and then you have several months off, then you've just got to find a fire inside of you. Don't look at the superficial things. Find a way to make you feel good, and don't worry about going too extreme. You know, 20 minutes one day, 20 minutes the next day. It really starts to add up. So, And this is a complete misconception if you think you need more than 20 minutes. 20 minutes is fantastic. If you're going non-stop for 20 minutes and you're not tired, you know, you're not doing it right. Now I go for an hour because I have lots of breaks. I like to do circuits, so that's basically all I ever do. I will do maybe 4 or 5 different exercises and I will rotate. I love doing that. So what do? I do about 4 or 5 exercises. That will be dips, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, chin-ups. That's pretty much it. And I do a fair bit of running, so you know, you don't need to actually do much to really kick ass. And just keep doing it day after day after day. That's all there is to it. Find a way to make it work for you. And hopefully, by watching my channel, my new channel, hopefully you will get some inspiration. I hope you will find me inspirational. And even if just a bit of what I do rubs off on you, then I will see it as a success. So for now, I will say over and out, and let's get back on it. You know, before we move on, I just want to return to the motivation bit. This is so important. Everything that I do is going to be completely useless if you're sitting at home and you don't have the motivation to do this. So there's no point going into extremely complicated exercise movements if you're going to watch it and, you know, it's beyond you. You don't want to do it. Don't have the motivation. So I just want to impress upon you, half of the time that I'm exercising, I'm tired. Half of the time I'm doing it, it might actually be extremely strenuous for me. It doesn't necessarily get that much easier, but the rewards from it, how you feel good and all of that, they just, you can't match them. So, you know, the way to start, if that's what you're struggling with, the way to start is just, all you need is 15 minutes. It's not much. 15 minutes is actually all that will be required. So, you know, think of a circuit, maybe just think of 3 exercises. Now, if I was going to recommend your first 3 exercises and you're starting out, now when I say starting out, maybe, you know, you're doing a month, I mean, you have 2 months off, and you feel like you're not really doing anything, or you are literally starting out. Get 3 exercises and do these 3. I would recommend sit-ups. Anyone can do them. You can definitely start with them. Do sit-ups, do push-ups, and I mean, everyone can start with push-ups and sit-ups. And what else? Well, I don't know. Watch what I do, and you can pick one of them. You know what? I would say running. Go get your cardio going. So do running, sit-ups, and push-ups, which is actually what I started with when I was 14 years old. Now, I will go into more detail about that another time, but all those years ago, that is how I began, and it really got me on my fitness journey. So sit-ups, push-ups, running, you can really start at a small level with all 3 of those, and you know, you can change your world. So think about that. You don't need to spend much time on it either. Over and out. Now, as I was waffling away there on the beach, I came across these rocks. So many possibilities. So now I am going to move on to push-ups, which you can do on any good rock. So ideally you need 2 rocks. So I'll just show you. Really simple. Who needs a gym when you got rocks? Okay, easy. Do another 10. Okay, so obviously pretty logical. The higher you put your legs, the harder it's going to get for you. And seeing as we have a whole cluster of rocks, you can really make it how you want it. So my legs were a little bit raised there, and again, with all these different size rocks, you can change where your grip is. Obviously, the wider you go, the harder it's going to be. You can have grips like this, where you're pushing like that. You can have it small in the middle, go all the way out, you go really far out, but you don't need to worry too much about any of that. Just focus on a particular type and just keep crushing it. Doesn't matter particularly. What really makes the difference is the higher your legs. There's no point ever really, in my opinion, unless you're training for something very specific. It's all a bit of a waste of time doing the nitty-gritty. You just want to do the overall picture. So, you know, just pushing maybe with a standard width where your shoulders are, have your grip here, and your legs, just try and raise them slowly over time. You will get to a point, if you are actually raising them a lot, where it's more becoming going into the shoulder press. So there is a limit, but there are never limits, because what you can then do is you can use resistance. Now, the way to do that is you can actually wrap a band around you to create resistance as you're pushing off the ground. You're pushing against the band as well, and I will show that in another video. So you could also put weight on your back, but that does make it a little bit more complicated for working out outside, carrying weights around. You don't really want to be worrying with all of that. So there is a push-up on a rock. Okay, for simplicity's sake, I have literally moved over just a couple of rocks to show you how accessible it can be to do your workouts outside. So I'm now going to do some dips. This will be really stimulating a sidebar dip. As you can see, my grip is not going to be perfect, and that's half the reason why I'm showing you this, because it doesn't have to be perfect. This one is a bit nicer. This one I'm kind of sliding down. I'm just going to grab it there, and you know, my knees are just sort of touching the ground, so I'm going to go in a bit. It's not ideal, but if this was all you had, you could pretty much do your workout on this. The key is to just try and keep all your weight off the ground as much as possible. But then again, you know, if you're just starting out, what you can do is you can take some weight off. So I'm now going to put my feet on the ground, and I'm just sort of pushing like that. So I'm probably pushing like 50% of my body weight. It's the same. You know, if it was for me, I would just do twice as many. So you can really make it work for you. There are no limits. We'll go back to the proper one there. So I'm just twisting my body to the side so I can get my knees down. And yeah, I am grazing my knee. Not ideal, but just to give you an idea. There's a lot of rocks here. I'm sure I could find a better one. All right, time for a bit more waffling. I need a break. So we're in the land of the salty. Now, if you're not from Australia, you might not know what that term means. Salty is short for saltwater crocodile. It is the most deadly of all crocodiles worldwide. You do not really want to come across one. My understanding is as soon as they get over about 2 meters long, they are a threat to human life. And they go up to about 5 meters in the wild. Now, back in the day, my understanding is they used to go much bigger than that. I'm not talking about back in the dinosaur era, I'm talking about sometime before the 70s, the 1970s, I think, where there was a massive cull in Australia, and all the big ones were taken off the table. So populations are now recovering, and I think 5 meters is about where it's at. That is a very large predator. So the ocean next to me is home to the saltwater crocodile. Now the advice in Australia is no more than 5 meters by the water. So really the most dangerous places to be by the water in Australia are the creeks. This is obviously in the tropical areas, which is where I am right now. This is Clifton Beach, outside of Cairns, northeast Queensland. A very beautiful spot. It's my home really. This is my favourite spot in Australia, I would say. That's a tough one because there's a lot of nice places. So we can talk a bit more about the good old salty another time. But this water here is a highway for the saltwater crocodile in the wet season. We are currently in the dry season and soon moving into the wet season. So what happens is they like to swim from the creeks that all start running off down across the beach into the ocean. They like to swim out and they go up and down the coast finding fresh pastures. Alright, so as I've been waffling away, I have noticed that we are fast approaching a set of metal stairs, a stairway, and it's always quite enticing because you can do exercises on metal structures. So here we are, this is the structure in question. So let's go up, and what I'm thinking of doing is a front bar dip. Let's stay on the dip. I will set the tripod up and show you a front bar dip again on this structure. Alright, front bar dip, battery running out, so let's get it going. Now again, my knees can get a bit caught here, so you want to try and stop all the friction from happening to increase the amount of body weight that you're lifting. I'm pretty much lifting all of my body weight at the moment and getting a nice workout with this one. Alright, perfect. Give a go with that one. Alright, back on the beach about 6 hours later because my battery ran out, and I will be damned if I'm not going to say goodbye on my first ever video. So just wanted to say hope you appreciate some of the content that I've put out, and please let me know what you think. If you have questions, that would be fantastic. And I also just want to add that I'm aware that what I've done in this first video may be a little bit beyond some people, so I don't want to alienate you. The channel is for everybody, and I will do a video, my next video, I will work on putting in exercises that anyone can do to build up to, you know, push-ups, how to do those dips, and start at a very low level. It's possible, just got to keep doing it every single day. So from me and Clifton Beach, it's over and out until tomorrow.